He thought I'd break down. Instead, I brewed coffee, served a customer, and planned his downfall. It was 11:42 a.m. on a Thursday when my phone buzzed behind the counter of M&Co, my boutique tucked on a charming corner of downtown Austin. I was helping a regular pick out a spring trench coat when I glanced at the screen. Jason, I'm leaving you. Lexi and I are flying to LA tomorrow. Already emptied the joint account. Good luck, Em. My heart didn't race. My hands didn't shake. The only tell was the slight tightening around my eyes as I handed a size 6 to the customer with a warm smile. Try this one. It complements your shoulders. She thanked me, oblivious to the emotional bomb that had just gone off behind my ribs. Jason, my husband of 12 years, had just ended our marriage with a single arrogant text and a laughing emoji. He thought I'd collapse. He thought I'd cry. Instead, I smiled. Because while he had been sneaking around with a girl barely out of college, I had been watching, documenting, preparing. And now the real story begins. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I smiled and started thinking like a CEO. I wrapped the trench coat in crisp white tissue and slid it into one of our signature silver shopping bags. The customer thanked me, chatting about spring weather and brunch plans. I nodded, even laughed at the right moment. You'd never know that 10 minutes ago, my marriage had been turned into a punchline over text. I watched her leave, heels clicking on the polished hardwood, the bell above the boutique door chiming politely behind her. Only then did I reach for my phone again. No panic, no shaking hands. I typed 2 words, good luck. Then I turned the lock on the door, flipped the sign to closed, and let the silence settle in. My heart was hammering, but I wasn't falling apart, because Jason thought he just blindsided a heartbroken wife. What he didn't know was that I wasn't a victim. I was a businesswoman, a planner, a woman with backup files, a second bank account, and a lawyer already on speed dial. He made his move. Now it was my turn. While he was chasing youth, I was building an airtight case. Jason thought he was being slick, late nights at the office, sudden gym memberships, switching his phone password like he was in a spy movie. What he didn't know? I'd been paying attention. 3 months ago, I found a receipt for a $250 dinner at a steakhouse downtown. The same night, he told me he was working overtime on a quarterly report. That same evening, I opened a new bank account. Different institution, no joint access. A week later, Jason suggested we combine all our accounts to simplify things. I smiled, nodded, and moved the rest of my savings out before the end of the day. From that point on, every suspicious charge, hotel stays, jewelry, unexplained Venmo transfers, I saved them all. I didn't confront him. I documented him. Because when the storm hits, it's not the loudest who survive. It's the most prepared. I met the woman who helped blow up my marriage. She thought she was being subtle. She wasn't. Her name was Lexi, receptionist. 20, maybe 21. Big eyes, big laugh, even bigger delusions. I'd first noticed her at the company Christmas party last year. Red dress too tight, heels too high, and always hovering a little too close to Jason. She giggled at his every lame joke like it was stand-up gold, her hand accidentally resting on his arm whenever she leaned in. I saw it. I remembered it. And when his text came through, the one announcing he'd left me for someone who understands him, I didn't even need to ask who. Lexi. She was barely old enough to rent a car, but apparently old enough to believe that running off with a married man was romantic. She had no idea what she was stepping into. Jason had promised her escape, but all she was walking into was evidence. He thought he had the upper hand. He didn't know I'd already hired the referee. The moment the boutique door clicked shut behind my last customer, I reached for my phone. Not to cry, not to beg. I scrolled down to a contact saved simply as Monica, attorney. I'd met her 2 months ago, the night I found hotel charges on our shared credit card. I hadn't cried then either. I'd just called. Now, I pressed dial. Monica, it's time, I said. A pause. He made his move? She asked, calmly. Via text message, I replied, with a laughing emoji. Her tone didn't change, but I could almost hear her eyebrows raise. The papers are ready. Do you want him served here or? Let him land in LA, I said. Let him think he's won. She chuckled softly. That kind of arrogance usually comes with receipts. I've got plenty, I replied, already pulling up the folder on my laptop marked Plan B. Jason had just lit the match, but I'd already lined the path with gasoline. He thought he had the upper hand. He didn't know I'd already hired the referee. The moment the boutique door clicked shut behind my last customer, I reached for my phone. Not to cry, not to beg. I scrolled down to a contact saved simply as Monica, attorney. I'd met her 2 months ago, the night I found hotel charges on our shared credit card. I hadn't cried then either. I'd just called. Now I pressed dial. Monica, it's time, I said. A pause. He made his move? She asked calmly. Via text message, I replied, with a laughing emoji. Her tone didn't change, but I could almost hear her eyebrows raise. The papers are ready. Do you want him served here, or... Let him land in LA, I said. Let him think he's won. She chuckled softly. That kind of arrogance usually comes with receipts. I've got plenty, I replied, already pulling up the folder on my laptop marked Plan B. Jason had just lit the match, but I'd already lined the path with gasoline. He called it a little shop. I called it my empire. Jason never took my boutique seriously. He thought of it as a cute side project, something to keep me busy while he played corporate warrior. What he didn't know was that M&Co pulled in more revenue in a quarter than his entire department did in a year. Every stitch, every sale, every signed vendor contract, I built it. And I built it smart. From day one, the business was incorporated under my name only. Separate accounts, separate taxes, separate everything. Jason had once asked me, half joking, half not, why I didn't just merge it all together. I told him I liked having clean books. He laughed, called me obsessive. Now, that obsession would save me everything. The boutique wasn't just a business. It was my shield, and soon it would become my sword. He booked first class. I booked revenge. I sat at my desk with a glass of Merlot and my laptop glowing in the dark. Jason thought he was 2 steps ahead. He wasn't. I pulled up our shared credit card account, what was left of it, and there it was. 2 first-class tickets to Los Angeles, hotel reservations at the Granville, spa add-ons, champagne room. He really went all out with my money. So I picked up the phone and dialed. Fraud department, this is Rachel speaking. Hi, Rachel. I said, calm as a Texas sunrise. I need to report some fraudulent charges on a joint card. I have text messages from my husband admitting to the use. Within 10 minutes, the charges were flagged, canceled, and under review. I had the emails to prove it. Jason and Lexi would walk into that airport tomorrow thinking they were heading to a sun-soaked escape. Instead, they'd hit a wall of access denied. He thought he'd humiliated me. But I had receipts. And now? So did the fraud department. He told me I could stay in the house a little while, as if it wasn't already mine. Later that night, my phone buzzed again. Jason, don't worry about the house. You can stay there until you find something smaller. I actually laughed out loud. The house? My house? The 2-story brick colonial tucked in the heart of Travis Heights, the one with the wraparound porch and my grandmother's rose garden in the back? It had been in my name long before Jason even knew which fork to use at a dinner party. He'd asked me 3 times over the years to add his name to the deed. I always said no. He thought it was about trust. It wasn't. It was about ownership and foresight. Now here he was, acting like he was granting me permission to stay in my own home. I poured another glass of wine, the good kind, because tomorrow, Jason would learn a lesson about real estate law he should have paid attention to before booking that fantasy life with Lexi. He texted like a winner. I screenshot like a lawyer. Jason couldn't help himself. The texts kept coming, like clockwork. 1 minute he was smug, the next condescending. Melissa understands me in ways you never did. You've got your little shop. Already told my family. They agree. It's nobody's fault. Every message? Saved. Labeled. Time-stamped. I even created a folder on my laptop. Jason, evidence. He thought he was twisting the knife. What he didn't realize was he was building my case. The best part? BW, I used the joint card for the flights and hotel. Consider it my parting gift. Perfect. I added that one to the top of the file. Let him keep talking. I was listening. And the judge would be too. They believed his story until I read them his words. It was around noon the next day when my phone rang again. Caller ID, Barbara, Jason's mom. I let it go to voicemail. She called back 5 minutes later. This time, I answered. "Emily, I just talked to Jason," she began. "He told us everything. How you've been controlling, how you pushed him away. Now you're being vindictive, canceling his travel plans." I put her on speaker while I adjusted the boutique's window display. "Barbara," I said calmly, "did he also mention emptying our joint account? Or bragging about using our credit card to book a romantic getaway with his receptionist?" Silence. He said, "You left him no choice." "I have the texts," I added. "Would you like me to read them? Maybe the one where he mocks my age? Or the one where he calls stealing our money his parting gift?" Another pause. Then quietly, That does sound cruel." I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. "I appreciate the call, but my lawyer advised minimal contact during proceedings." "Proceedings?" she echoed. "Yes. Goodbye, Barbara." Click. 1 hour later, Amanda, Jason's sister, unfollowed me on Instagram and started texting mutual friends. Apparently, the family meeting had just gotten awkward. He left for a new life in LA and ended up back in his childhood bedroom at 45. Word traveled fast. By the weekend, I was hearing whispers through mutual friends. Jason and Lexi never made it to Los Angeles. Turns out, when your first-class tickets are canceled and your hotel booking gets wiped from the system, plans change. They ended up checking into a budget inn near the airport, $59.99 a night, no breakfast included. Classy. He tried to use his personal credit cards. Declined. All of them. By Monday, Jason had no choice but to call the one place he swore he'd never go back to, his parents' house, 45 years old. 2 failed suitcases, 1 humbling reality check. And you know what? He deserved every square inch of that twin bed. He showed up in designer jeans. I showed up with receipts. The courtroom was quiet. Jason walked in wearing jeans too tight for his age and a blazer that screamed midlife crisis. No Lexi by his side this time. She'd stayed in the car, apparently not a fan of fluorescent courtroom lighting. My lawyer laid it all out with surgical precision. The text where Jason bragged about draining our joint account. The one where he called the boutique my little shop. His hotel bookings, charged on our shared credit card. Every joke that now read like a signed confession. Jason's lawyer tried to spin it. "Your Honor, my client made some emotional decisions. He never intended harm." My lawyer didn't flinch. Intent doesn't erase documentation. Then came the verdict. The judge looked Jason square in the eye. "Mr. Harper, you're ordered to return the full amount withdrawn from the joint account within 24 hours. And no, your midlife getaway doesn't count as an investment," Jason stammered. "But that money's gone." "Then I suggest you find a way to replace it," the judge replied and slammed the gavel. "Game over." He said he helped emotionally build my boutique. I handed the judge receipts. Jason wasn't done. A week after the ruling, his lawyer filed a new motion. He wanted half of M&Co. His reasoning? Moral support. That's right. According to Jason, standing in the hallway occasionally saying, "You still working?" qualified him for business ownership. He even claimed the boutique had been his idea. My lawyer didn't even flinch. We pulled out the founding documents, tax filings, lease agreements, every receipt, contract, and dollar tied to M&Co. All in my name. All clean. All separate. The judge barely looked up from the folder. "Mr. Harper, emotional encouragement does not constitute legal ownership." Motion denied. Jason left the courtroom red-faced, muttering something about men never winning in divorce. What he didn't realize was he never understood what I was building. And now, he never would. While he blamed the world, I opened my second store. 3 months after the divorce was finalized, M&Co launched its second location, this time in the heart of Dallas. New staff, new shelves, new skyline view from the fitting room. I hired 3 women who reminded me of myself 10 years ago. Hungry, sharp, underestimated. We built something beautiful together. Orders from the online store were doubling by the week. Features in local magazines rolled in. Then came the email. "We'd love for you to be a keynote speaker at the National Women in Business Summit." I stared at the screen for a full minute, not because I was surprised, but because I realized Jason had tried to bury me, and I'd bloomed. The girl he left me for walked into my store and apologized. It was a slow Thursday afternoon when she walked in. Lexi. She looked smaller than I remembered. Maybe it was the absence of that performative confidence, or maybe it was the weight of reality. She clutched her purse like it was armor. I just wanted to say, "I'm sorry," she said softly. "I believed everything he told me. Controlling, that you didn't believe in him." I let her speak. "He said you laughed at his dreams, that he needed someone who supported him." Then she looked up, her eyes honest this time. "But when things got tough, he used the same lines on me, word for word, and when the money ran out, so did the kindness." She paused. "He tried to move into my apartment like it was temporary, started making suggestions, telling me to take out a loan." I raised an eyebrow. "Let me guess, he had big plans?" She nodded, ashamed. Plans with no money, no timeline, and no reality. Before she left, she said something that stayed with me. "You weren't his problem, Emily. You were his mirror, and he couldn't handle what he saw." He tried to turn me into a cautionary tale. I became the blueprint instead. They didn't call me a divorcee. They called me a visionary. The boutique was now 3 locations strong, with a 4th in planning. M&Co wasn't just surviving, it was thriving. Featured in business magazines, interviewed by finance podcasts, quoted in articles about women-led growth and financial independence. At first, I thought they wanted a sob story, but they didn't want to talk about Jason. They wanted to know how I kept my business separate, how I protected my assets, how I stayed calm when everything around me collapsed. I gave them answers. "I didn't just survive betrayal," I told one reporter. "I audited it." Soon, young women started reaching out, entrepreneurs, students, single moms, all asking the same thing. "How did you do it?" And every time I said the same thing. Preparation is power. Keep your books clean, and your name on the deed. He tried to replace me with a fantasy, and ended up with a futon in his parents' basement. Jason faded faster than I expected. After the court ordered him to return the joint account funds, money he'd already blown, he tried to salvage what was left of his pride. It didn't go well. His company, already wary of his relationship with the receptionist, passed him over for promotion. HR launched an internal review. His name started popping up in office gossip, not as a rising star, but as a red flag. He applied for jobs, no bites. Tried moving in with Lexi. She said no. Her studio apartment didn't have room for his ego. Eventually, word got around. Jason was back at his parents' house, jobless, friendless, and nursing what was left of his shattered self-worth. One of my vendors, who used to work with him, summed it up best. He used to walk around like he owned the floor. Now, people use him as an example of what not to become. Poetic justice? Maybe. But me? I didn't gloat. I was too busy leading a staff meeting. He took my trust. I turned it into a legacy. The boutique was never just about clothes. It became a movement. Women started visiting M&Co, not just to shop, but to share stories. Stories of betrayal, reinvention, resilience. One afternoon, a college student stood in the checkout line, holding a leather clutch. She looked nervous. "You probably hear this a lot," she said, "but you're the reason I started my business degree." Another woman, a single mom of 2, wrote me a letter thanking me for showing her that it's never too late to start over. It wasn't the press or the profits or the expansion that mattered most. It was the quiet ripple I created. One woman helping another find her voice, her strength, her freedom. That was my real inheritance. Not just what I protected, but what I proved was possible. He thought that text would break me. It built the life he never saw coming. I still have the message. The one where he said he was leaving. The one with the laughing emoji. The one he thought would destroy me. It's framed in my office now, not out of bitterness, but as a reminder that the moment someone thought they could erase me was the moment I rewrote everything. That text wasn't an ending. It was a trigger. For growth. For power. For the version of me I hadn't met yet. 5 years later, M&Co has 5 thriving locations, 30 employees, and a mentorship program for young women in business. The shop he once mocked, it became a movement. And me? I became more than the woman he walked away from. I became the woman he never could have handled.